My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start this movement named Meticulous Moments out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a beautiful society. This evening, we will be joined by Raul Marin. Raul Marin is a 38-year-old young poet, educator, and entrepreneur. Born and raised in Maryland, he has worked in adult ESL education for more than 15 years. He has been a successful entrepreneur as a DJ and photographer for private events for more than 15 years. Now he is living his passion for writing with the release of his first poetry book. He is also an avid runner and is preparing to achieve the goal of running a marathon. Coming soon, he will be launching a podcast focused on authors and entrepreneurs. More about his poetry book, titled Rise with Gratitude, Poems to Inspire Your Growth and Greatness. This book is dedicated to everyone who wakes up in the morning ready to grow into the path towards greatness in every way. We are all born with unique talents and abilities that allow us to succeed in life through daily progress, and a powerful intention to grow from who we were yesterday. Perfection is an illusion, but we can all strive for greatness by living our passion and fulfilling our purpose. Failure does not prevent our growth. It allows us to reflect on why we are on this path towards becoming the best version of ourselves. Through faith, commitment, courage, gratitude, and the vision for your future, there are no limits for how great you can be and how much you can grow. Over to you, Raul.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are here with the wonderful, fantastic, fabulous poet Raul Marin, and he's going to be telling us more about his poetry book, which will be launching soon. Over to you, Raul.
Hello, Jay. How are you, my friend? So nice to be here with you. And I'm so thankful to share this space with you to talk about poetry, of all things, which is such a beautiful thing for me to write. And I'm happy to share my book very, very soon. Rise with Gratitude, Poems to Inspire Your Growth and Greatness.
Fantastic. We love the title already. I mean, it just puts an excitement in our spirit to see, what will transpire from this poetry book. And I really believe that poetry changes people's lives. I've had my day, where I've sat down and just read a poem and it just lifted my spirit and made me just feel like I had that energy for the day. So we are very excited to read your poetry book as soon as it's being launched. And we are here this evening to discuss, who you are, where you come from, your passions, and what led you to this place that you are, here transforming society at the moment as well. So tell us more about yourself.
Well, I am 38 years young. You'll never hear me say old. I'm 38 years young, born and raised in Maryland and in the United States, on the east coast of the country. And I'm the only son of four. Two older sisters, one younger, and I've been an educator for 15 plus years, and I've been an entrepreneur for 15 plus years. Then that includes DJing and photography work. Just this year, it's the 7th year anniversary of me donating my kidney to my mother. We're both doing fantastically well. And I'd say within the last 3 years is when I've really started to embrace this poet side of me. So I'm just a constant giver to the community and the world around me, because I think God's blessed me with an incredible gift of writing, and I just think it's the most beautiful thing to share it.
It's awe-inspiring. It's fantastic to learn, about your kidney and the journey that you've had. And, you're quite the artist. There's many sides to the art that you do. And I think, together they really encapsulate who Raul is. So I think it's a wonderful, thank you for sharing that information with us, because you are really a very talented, gifted person. And, when people are gifted and talented like that, they should share that with the world. And you are doing exactly that. And I think that's also part of community upliftment. We are in the new normal, and we are facing different times than previously. And, people are trying to get a grasp on the new way of doing things. And through art, it helps them to adjust and to kind of find their emotional balance and peace. So what inspired you to write poetry?
I think I've always had it's always been a passion of mine. I love the way this amazing motivational speaker, thinker, Steve Harvey. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's quite popular here. He once said, you're doing what's your talent. You're doing your passion when you do something that requires the least amount of effort. You just do it so effortlessly, so it just flows. And writing for me has just always flowed. I remember being in school, just always being the straight A type student, and I always struggled with math and science. That's a whole other thing. I respectfully keep my distance from math and science. But reading and writing is just was always very very comfortable and therapeutic for me, I would say. I always had the encouragement of my family to say, you obviously have a talent for writing. You should definitely put it to good use and write a book out of it, or write a book with it.
Yeah.
And I had these, years and years of, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'm good at it, but I don't know who's going to read it. Am I good enough? I had those thoughts in my head about, and, I started to really embrace this self-development, personal growth type of journey with a good mentor and friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and doing a program with him, which was called the Morning and Evening Routine Program, which has been life-changing for me because it just teaches you to really strengthen the healthy daily habits that everybody should do to lead a better life and be more confident in yourself, and do things that further develop you, whatever it is that you want to do, whether you're a writer or a parent or entrepreneur. I mean, having a solid morning and evening routine just completely increases your performance,
absolutely,
as a person and professional. And I think that's what really triggered the thought in my head to say, I am good at this, and I am going to do this because this is a talent, and not everybody has it. And what better time than now than to share this talent? Because one thing that was always said among the circle of writers and authors and poets is, nobody can tell your story like you. So
true.
if you don't tell your story now, somebody else will, and it's not going to be the same.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and writing poetry makes you happy.
Yes, it does.
You are in your flow. And I think what COVID made evidently clear for many people is that some people were not in their flow. They
No.
were pursuing different things, and suddenly the whole world came to a halt. And everyone had to stop and review their lives and their situations and their choices. And look what transpired from COVID. I mean, it was a very, very bad time, initially. I mean, there's a lot of devastating consequences. But on the upside, look what transpired, look what flowered, look what prospered. So would you agree with me that lots of people are now, since the COVID, discerning or maybe, in a state of their flow?
Absolutely. I mean, there's always a silver lining. There's always something.
Yes.
As bad as things can be, I think there's always a silver lining.
Yes.
A learning piece, teaching, a teaching moment that
Yes.
comes from pain, and
Mhm.
and in this case, we've had 2+ years of it.
Mhm.
Pandemic. Uh, and I think it definitely turned on some light bulbs for people, as to
Yes.
what do I want to do with the talent that I have,
True.
and I should never settle for what is good enough or what's comfortable. Everything that's worth it is going to require some effort and some
Absolutely.
work. But if you really love it,
Mm.
it's work. It's gratifying work, and it's work that you do. Like Steve Harvey says, you do just effortlessly.
Yeah, it just
Because-
comes to the fore. It's who you are.
yeah.
I mean, when you pick up a pen roll or when you go and sit in front of your laptop, look what just comes out, what flows onto that paper, and it touches the rest of us.
Absolutely.
So in anything, people should experience. I mean, the first time you read Promise, I have never met you before that session, but that poem grasped me. And I even said, I think during that session, I said, well, you read it out so well, I could feel what you were saying, and I was believing your words there. So that's really a gift, when you get that feeling, that sense of something is igniting in your spirit, that's when you know it's truly something that flows from the spirit of that person. So I'm very happy that you made that decision, and the rest of the world is very happy that you made that decision, and we can't wait to read your poetry book. So I wanted to ask you, thank you. I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, does poetry resonate with leadership? Is there a leadership quality in poetry? Because leadership is a topic that comes, it comes into the conversation so often these days because of society and, things that have changed so much. What is your opinion on that?
I think they're very hand in hand, poetry and leadership. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's almost like we are the world's best kept secret, us poets.
Yes.
'Cause
Well said.
we're silently, enclosed in our writing space and sharing our poems and writing our books, but there's a profound meaning behind them. And it's almost like you have to in every poet's particular, on their own particular way, there's something about the leadership qualities that they have that which is why there's so few of us. I mean,
Yes.
there are a lot more, but people just don't talk about it because it's kind of like this powerful yet silent leadership
True.
that they practice, because I think all poets, they have this. I think the overall message, even though there's so many different forms of poetry, the overall message is. Not only are we doing this because we're practicing our own self-leadership by putting our thoughts through our hand, through our pen,
Yeah.
through our paper,
Yeah.
out
Into
to
our
you,
hearts.
you know. um, we're practicing self-leadership, but this message that we're sending to you, it's not just good for you, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
We're selfless leaders, because there's always that very heartfelt community-based message behind the poetry that we write, and that's definitely why I've titled my book that way.
Yes.
Just don't just wake up, rise out of that bed.
Yes.
You just open your eyes. That is a gift. That is a miracle, right? We don't have any guarantee that we're going to open our eyes tomorrow. So with that much more gratitude that I rise every morning. So yes, poetry and leadership, I think, is they're on the same wavelength of energy.
Fantastic answer. And I was thinking as you were speaking, poets are the leaders in the room, but they're not always the loudest leaders in the room. Now, I'll use the illustration. We've got a minister's fellowship here in Queenstown in South Africa, and we meet often. And they are, pastors are talkative people. And you'll even see when I talk, I always use my hands. It's something that we do. I don't know. it's a trait, but there's always a lot of loud pastors in the room, and there's one pastor I know that's always silent, but he's very he's so wise. He doesn't say much, but when he says something, he can talk how softly, however, maybe he's not even audible to other people, but the moment he speaks, it's like I'm tuned into, and my attention is immediately on what he's saying, because I always know there's going to be weight to what he's saying. And I feel poets are like that. I feel the message that you inspire people with, it's you write in quiet and in peace. But yes, the wonderful wisdom that comes from there, the wonderful, the way it touches people's lives has so much weight. There's so much wisdom in the poetry that I think people just relish when they read poetry books. And I know your book is going to do exceedingly well, because I can sense that wisdom, that you pen on paper. So I agree with you. A silent, a servant leadership type of, a strong but silent leadership. And I think we need more of that.
Yes, it's. I totally agree. It gives me goosebumps. We and I consider myself to be that same type of person. I don't typically take over or control or dictate conversations. I think there's a reason why I have one mouth and two ears.
Yes, true. I like that.
I'd rather listen and understand, what people say, and when it's my moment to speak, I just speak from the heart, and you speak clearly and concisely and just heartfelt. And I think every poet has that, even if it's not the loudest voice in the room, it's very heartfelt. And I think that's what the world needs more of.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Like, COVID has changed my whole perspective on society, and I'm just thankful for it, because there were a lot of things that I also had to do introspection on, and I'm glad I had the time and the opportunity to do that, because myself, as well as an individual, I had to take stock of my life. And I made time for the things that I loved to do. And those were not the things that I was keeping myself busy with. And, it was such an eye-opener, because every day you just do the same thing. And now and again you think about, but I still wanted to pursue this in my life. And COVID did that for us. So fantastic. Tell me, what are the 3 top qualities, in your opinion, that a leader should embody? What is those 3 things that stand out for you?
Oof, that's
There's so many, I know.
Boy, if I would say three, I'd say patience.
Mm-hmm.
Patience, because everybody is different. Everybody. To quote the great Jay Shetty, who I'm sure you've heard of and read. Tremendous visionary leader that he is. I have his book, Think Like a Monk, I think I've read like twice already, and I want to read a third time. Which is another thing that I love about poets in general. We're constantly writing, but we're also constantly reading.
Very good. Yes.
You've got to teach your mind. And patience is just, I think every leader should be patient, because one thing that Jay Shetty said that really resonated with me is that everybody's operating on their own clock. Don't compare yourself to others. You're in your own lane, run your own race. Nobody's better or worse than you. I mean, you are operating on your own clock. So
True.
Even if I as a leader, I'm leading this team, I think it's very valuable to respect everybody's where each individual is as far as what they can contribute, and they should have the patience to see, to respect how everybody kind of transitions through the group's mission, right? So patience, nothing good ever happens out of doing things rushed or forced.
I agree.
Patience is tremendous. What does it see? Patience, service. Service. You have to be a servant leader. I've always made a distinction. There's a difference between a boss and a leader. A boss is just, Jay, go do this, go do that. I want to see this. I want to see that. The leader is like, let's do this together. You learn, I learn. You grow, I grow. We learn together. I'm not just I'm not tossing you off to the wild and see how you come back. I'm with you every step of the way. Not micromanaging. I'm not micromanaging you. I'm just, my service. I'm 100% service to your growth. Leaders don't lead to have followers follow them. They lead to have their followers become leaders as well. There's got to be service. And I'd say the third quality is I just had it in my head.
That often happens.
Flexibility, flexibility.
Yes.
And some of the best conversations that can happen in a workplace are when, everybody feels that their opinions are just as valued and respected as everybody else's. That's why they sit in a round table.
Yes, I like that.
There's no person whose values or ideas are more important than somebody else's. Because leadership is never, and should be never really defined by, well, this is my title and I lead this, company because of my title, and then there's everybody else. I just don't see leadership like that. It's flexibility, because if you are the leader of this organization or this business, you depend on your people to make it successful. So value their opinions, value their contributions, respect what they bring to the table, and just make it feel like this is a business family, because I'm flexible enough to consider and value what everybody else contributes.
I agree, especially now. If they feel that they are part of the family, if they feel that they are valued as a part of the team, I mean, a wonderful a goal-orientated leader should also be person-orientated, and that leader should be guiding that team and using those gifts and talents, and I'd almost say anointings, and creating the best end result, but also in the process looking after the individuals, their growth, like you said, and their mental health, and what they are going through emotionally, because I really think at the end of the day we really do make an impact on each other, and it should be a positive impact.
Absolutely. People want to feel like they're valued not as workers but as people. Definitely that. This is probably like 3 with an asterisk.
Yes.
The humanitarian aspect to leadership that is definitely people don't say it much, but I'm sure they look for it, in a leader. Do they really value me as a person? Do they really value what I think, what I bring, what I do? It's easy to talk about how its value in terms of the work, but beyond the work, do they really value me as a person? Because I hear, and maybe this is true in South Africa as well, but in the United States, one common thing that goes around in the workplace is, well, you can easily be replaced.
Oh, I see.
If you stop working today, well, you're just going to be replaced tomorrow.
I mean,
sure.
And already that brings a mindset to the employee when they walk into that building. I understand. Yeah.
But sure. Obviously, there's a need to fill that position, but you can never really replace the value of what that person brought to the position.
True.
And if you have a leader who really, twofold. I value what you bring to the position, and I value you as a human being for what you bring to the position in addition to what you already bring.
Yeah.
That's when you're really, you go above and beyond, because the leader is encouraging that out of you.
Bringing out the best in you.
Yeah.
And making you clear of your vision and your goal, and taking you there, assisting you to get there. Yeah. Well, I think you've already answered my next question, because I wanted to know what type of leadership you practice, and it's clear that you are a servant leader.
I'm a servant leader. Always have been.
I always love to hear that. I'm so happy, because servant leadership to me is transformational leadership in essence. And I think, when we start serving each other, it's just the results that transpire on all levels is just, they are amazing. So I'm very happy that you are a servant leader.
And I tell you what inspired that from me even more is when my professor in the university.
Yes.
I was already a servant type of leader, back then, but he really, he really flipped a switch in my mind about how leadership should be. Because, I'd never heard an educator or professor or teacher ever say to his class, giving you a grade is just a business formality. I have to give you a grade.
Yes.
But to me, it's just a letter on a piece of paper. I don't really give much deeper thought into what letter I'm putting on that piece of paper. It could be an A, it could be a B, it could be a C.
Yeah.
That part is irrelevant to me, because what truly matters is, what did you learn from my class? Because if you did not learn, then I obviously did not teach you.
That is profound.
Very profound to me. And he said he started every single class the same way, with one question. Do you have any questions?
I love that. I love that, because I love when I was at university to ask questions. The professors already knew Jay's going to ask a whole lot of questions.
And we all came so inspired every day to come because there wasn't a question that he did not answer.
Wow.
And it could be related to the class. It could not, it didn't matter. Like he was that, devoted and committed to just teaching you whatever he could in that hour that we were with him. And it was just the most amazing thing. That really is what inspired me to just want to be an educator. Like it was just so profound. I want to start every class with, do you have questions? I want to answer them. And what matters to me is that you learn. Like just
fantastic.
Mind blowing.
Profound. That's the word that keeps coming up. And I'm thinking, he facilitated that growth for you to go into education and to become a poet and to, we're going to get to the other project that you are busy with later. And I mean, it's just inspiring to see your journey up to this place. Do you think leadership starts with leadership of self? I think you touched on that earlier. Do you think it starts with leadership of self?
Absolutely. Don't think for 1 second that you have to hold a leadership position to be a leader. No, because it starts with yourself. Every single day, there's a war. There's an internal war. There's me, and then there's my inner me, or AKA the enemy.
That just wants its own way.
It wants its own way, and it exists when you hear the alarm in the morning, right? You're telling yourself either, another 5 seconds won't hurt me, or you're telling yourself, okay, it's time to rise. That inner me is definitely poking you in your mind and your conscience every moment it can to have its way, and that's where you have to be your own leader and prove it otherwise, because the mind is already by nature trained to keep us safe. But, that's not always the best route to take. The best route for us to take is to do those things that are worth it, that they're going to take some work, and then they're going to take sacrifice. I was hearing a podcast earlier this week about how one of there's different laws of leadership, and one of them is sacrifice. Every leader sacrifices something.
True.
But you don't sacrifice something that doesn't keep you from leading yourself, and obviously those that you are inspiring. So you definitely have to self-lead. So what type of leadership you respond best to, and by the same token, what leadership does not work with you.
I agree. And when leaders sacrifice, they sacrifice of themselves and things that are important to them, not things that they are oblivious to, things that are really important to them. That is when the sacrifice counts. That's when it has that weight, and when that positive change comes about.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. How would you describe your own leadership journey?
It's been it's been a roller coaster for sure.
A lot of sacrifices, I'm sure.
A lot of sacrifices, time and family, friends, endless nights of not sleeping, but for a good reason, right? Because I'm at work.
In that flow.
I think everybody, naturally wishes for success to be this straight arrow from point A to Z, and it's just
common misconception.
Very common misconception. You're gonna have moments where you question yourself, and that's okay. You're not gonna always be performing at 100%. You're not always going to be motivated to hit this, to just get up, every single time. Robin Sharma, I'm sure you've heard of him. Robin Sharma's famous for, he has his book, The 5 a.m. Club.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most successful people do have a very established morning and evening routine, and they wake up when they're at work while everybody else is sleeping.
Yeah, and they stick to that routine.
And he's very famous for saying, we are all human. We're not going to be at our best. If you have one day where you just feel like you're trying to listen to your body and say, yes, Jay, you need those extra 5 minutes. Take them. It's okay. The world is not going to end.
How about an extra 50 minutes of sleep?
50 minutes. Take it. If that's what feels good, do it. But obviously, don't get into a habit of making that a cycle. So I think my own journey with leadership has been exactly that way. I'm learning from those failures and bumps and bruises, and which are just that, really. And, they strengthen you for further tests along the road that you don't see yet. And you're just building your confidence and your perseverance to really to know that you're not just leading yourself, you're actually leading other people, because they see you, they see what you do, they know what you're about. So even though there's no communication, so to speak, they are following your ways. So you're not leading yourself by leading a good life. You're silently leading others. And so it's when you talk to them about what you do that it's like, oh, thank you. I didn't know you were following me every single post.
Now you know.
Well, of course I am. I love what you post. I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so for A to A and Z connect. That's leadership.
True. Absolutely true. Which brings me to a question, and I think it's quite a controversial question. What was the toughest decision you've had to make as a leader?
Oh, boy. I firmly believe that mind and heart are not always going to connect. They're not always going to connect. And I love the way John Maxwell words it. He's who doesn't know about how much of a inspiration of a leader he is for personal growth and leadership. He has said, when your mind and your heart are not in sync, you cannot make a decision.
Yeah.
And as tough as that may be sometimes, you question whether it is the right decision or not. And of course, that's part of that's part of the growth that you live from making those decisions. It doesn't feel like it was the best decision at that moment because it hurts. And that's and it hurts because your mind and your heart are not in the same place. But beyond the mind and the heart connection, I've always been a very big believer in my gut feeling.
Yes.
The gut feeling is just, that's my go-to.
Unmatched.
That's my go-to. So, sometimes in life, we're going to be in situations that most likely affected by stress and pressure and all these things that just they lead you down this road where you feel like I've given it all. I've given it all, and I don't think there's another ounce in me left to give. I'm tapping out because I'm looking after myself at this point.
Oh, wow.
And those have been some of the toughest decisions for me to make, because the aftermath of those decisions,
Yeah.
those were they were rough to live through, but in hindsight, they're still the best decisions I made, because
Absolutely.
I was thinking about my own well-being, not just in the present moment, but everything coming after that decision. So, yeah. I
agree with you. Those decisions that you make where you are being true to yourself, those are they're the toughest, but the most important decisions one can ever make.
Yeah.
And in the moment it hurts.
It does.
But it gets better over time.
It does.
And as you look back, as you said, you know it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely.
I don't second guess it any day.
It's the second guessing that gets us in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about your 75 hard journey thus far. I mean, the first time I heard about it, I just could not wrap my mind around all the discipline. It's fantastic. Just share with us, please.
That challenge, wow. I'm speechless. Today is day 62.
Wow.
So getting so much closer to the finish line. But as I was saying to a friend the other day, it feels like it's a physical, fitness, physical transformation challenge / experience. But the reality is it's a lot more mental than anything else.
Yeah.
It really pushes you to your limit. Really, practice, mind over body. It's all right. And I love the concept of the title, because I mean, it's called 75 Hard for a reason.
It's hard.
It's hard work. If you've never done it before.
Yeah.
Once you've done it with the mentality, again, it all goes back to that mental strength. Once you do it with the mentality that this is who I am now. I'm not just doing this just to do it anymore. And initially you think that because you're just like check off, right? But then if you resort back to your old ways, challenge is over, then what was the point? If you're going back to your old ways, then you are mindlessly sacrificing your body and your mind to go through that you're just going to go back to. So that defeats the purpose.
Really, I agree.
So once you tweak your mindset that this is really a start of what the rest of my daily habits of my life are going to be like. Then it doesn't feel like a challenge, because you actually look forward to eating.
It becomes a part of who you are. Yeah.
You look forward to reading those 10 pages a day. You look forward to having a healthy meal. You look forward to exercises. Now that I must say, that's a little too much, right? 2 workouts a day. Because when I go to bed, I'm out.
You're out. In Afrikaans, we would say "uit is 'n kers." It means when your head hits that pillow, you are asleep for sure.
I'm asleep, and I'm quite a deep sleeper.
That's wonderful. Though we are very proud of you for sticking to the 75 hard. And I mentioned to you, I think in one of our sessions previously, that I believe that you are so determined that it's gonna become a part of your normal routine. It's
Yeah.
not gonna, it's not gonna end after day 75.
Not at all. It's just a big.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I will confess. I will probably trim it down to one workout a day, 45 minutes. But as long as you're physically active, I think
Yes.
I'll be okay.
You stood the test. You withstood. You made it.
Oh,
I wanted to ask you, Raul, your poetry book is to be launched soon.
there.
Where
Yeah.
can viewers pre-order your novel, your poetry book?
So I'm working with a good friend of mine who is helping me behind the scenes to work on my website and blog, because I will also offer readers a blog and merchandise. And so we're doing all that magic behind the scenes before I can actually share with everybody the link to just get on the page and pre-order. wisewolfpoet.com. That is the page. I
love that name, by the way, Wise Wolf. I think it's awesome. And I think viewers should watch this space, because when you are launching, it's going to be amazing. So we'll keep them updated. wisewolfpoet.com.
Yes.
Coming soon, launching soon.
Absolutely. I would say within the next week or two, it's going to be up and running.
Wow.
We
look forward to that. And it will coincide with the last day of your 75 hard, I think just after, maybe.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Wow.
That's right.
It's going to be quite the celebration.
I will definitely enjoy a nice glass of wine on day 76 for sure.
I think it's going to be the best wine you've ever tasted. Raul, I wanted to ask you, before you leave us with some last comments or any golden nuggets that you have for the audience, would you mind just reading us Promise? I mean, the way I wanted to read it, and I thought, no, nobody reads it the way Raul reads it. I want us to record this reading of this beautiful poem. That would be awesome.
I would love to. Yes. I always have my poems ready. I just have to, quote unquote, find them.
I think you know me by now, so I think you probably knew I was going to ask.
Okay. Aha, here you are.
Wonderful.
Promise. There are a few words that have the power of promise. No matter what it takes, I promise. The smile on your face, the joy in your heart. Your laughter is music for my soul. A promise is my word to you. A word that you never forget. A word that reminds you of why we said yes. Yes to rise with gratitude, take action, live with passion, and practice what we preach. I promise. By the end of this journey, the story will be told. It will inspire. And so many more stories will be told. Greatness will be found wherever you go. You will grow so much. I will see you in the stars. promise.
It will forever be my favorite poem of yours. I love it. I love it. And I think it's going to be one of your signature poems.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us and sharing your journey, Raul. You're absolutely an amazing person. You are a transformational servant leader. Any last comments to the audience? We are going to share Raul's contact details at the end of the session. You will see it at the end of the video. Over to you, Raul. Any last comments or golden nuggets you would like to share with the audience?
My last golden nugget for everybody would be the title of the book I'm currently reading.
Wonderful.
By Mr. Zig Ziglar, who was another amazing leader. God rest his soul. Better than good. Don't settle for good, because guess what?
Yeah.
Good's the enemy of great.
Agreed.
So be great with everything that you do with your life. Just be great. Don't settle for good. And you will be so much happier and be the leader, the self-leader you deserve to be for yourself. And that other people look at you to be, even if you don't know they are. People depend on you to be a leader. So be better than good.
I love it. Thank you very much, Raul. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I'm sure we'll have another session soon. And yes, it was just a lovely time to, learn from you, and you just inspired as you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Jay. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm sure we'll have many more conversations about for hours.
Yes, if we start talking.
Leadership and leading a great life. Yes.
Absolutely. Let's be better than good. Let's be great. I agree with you. And that's going to stay with me in my week that I'm going into. And I'm sure with the audience. And we are going to apply that to our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.